Plenty of games reward you for being the best or being the craziest or the most evil, but some games just reward you for doing the nice thing. Let's talk about some great examples. We've got 10, so let's get started off with number 10. Here's a classic example, the sort of thing that we're talking about. At the start of Resident Evil 4, you can find a dog trapped in a bear trap. If you want to be a jerk, you can ignore it, but it's possible to help this pooch out, and I mean, who wouldn't? You kind of have to go out of your way. Freeing it doesn't seem to do anything at first. The dog just runs away the moment you get its leg free of the trap. It takes a while, but the dog does come back. It reappears during the first El Gigante fight to help you out. The dog can't really damage the monster, it's mostly there as a distraction to draw aggro, but it makes the fight a lot easier. That's the last you kind of ever see of this particular dog, but I like to think that it got away. It's a small little interaction at the end of the day, but it feels like a big moment when it happens. You saved the dog, and then the dog came back to save you. It's great. Talk about man's best friend, definitely Leon's best friend in that moment. Now over at number 9, we're gonna leave this one high on this list just because it's so well known. Gotta talk about it though. If anyone remembers anything about the Bioshock games, you probably remember the whole thing about the little sisters. To upgrade your abilities, you need to collect a resource called Adam, which you can get from killing these little creepy girls that wander around the underwater halls of Rapture. That's the way the game tells you at first, at least, that the only way to improve your abilities is to kill these seemingly innocent children as long as you can deal with their big daddy guardians first. You don't necessarily have to kill them though.
There is another way. Use this. Free them from their torment. I will make it to be worth your while.
If you instead spare them, then eventually you'll start getting gifts from Dr. Tenenbaum containing Adam, and at the end of the day, you'll actually get more from sparing the little sisters than you would from killing them, along with a few other rewards. It kind of undercuts the whole moral dilemma of, choosing to spare or kill the little sisters. The whole point is that you need to kill them for Adam, but you get enough from sparing them anyway, because the game still has to be fun. Whatever. It's probably for the best that the game doesn't force you to murder weird little kids. Now over at number 8, if you played through the Dark Brotherhood questline in Skyrim, you probably remember this guy, Cicero. In comparison to the previous entries, this whole part of the game is a lot more morally gray. I mean, you're literally part of an assassin's guild that keeps a corpse around called the Night Mother. It tells them to kill people, so this whole thing is a little more twisted from the start compared to most of the other entries on this list. Now, Cicero is no saint. He's a weird jester that's pretty clearly nuts and believes that the Night Mother is talking to him. During the quest, The Cure for Madness, he goes nuts and starts attacking the other members of the Brotherhood for seemingly no reason, and you're given the task of hunting him down and dealing with him. You track him to the Dawnstar Sanctuary, where he taunts you and attempts to kill you with traps, but when you finally confront him, he asks you to spare him.
You caught me. I surrender.
A lot of people were probably pretty fed up with his BS at this point, but if you do spare him, he can actually become a follower later on, and in fact is one of the more powerful ones you can get. So this is less of a case of doing the right thing and more like I chose to side with this murderous guy over another murderous guy, but you're still sparing him and it benefits you for being the nice guy in the moment, and it counts. Now over at number 7, here's another one that's definitely worth mentioning, even if it's well known. In the first Mass Effect game, one of the priority missions is on Novaria. Most of your time on this planet is spent in a research facility where these alien creatures called the Rachni are being experimented on, and surprise, surprise, they escape containment and are attacking everyone. You probably didn't see that coming. Wow, really? It's like science fiction 101. Of course you'd see that coming. Now, after dealing with the people responsible for the outbreak, you're given the option of what to do with the Rachni Queen. You can either free them from containment or kill them, which might seem a little extreme, but keep in mind that these aliens were responsible for the Rachni Wars, which killed a lot of people, so there's some concern about keeping these things alive. This queen does say they're different, however, and if you choose to free them, then that ends up being true. It's not actually until Mass Effect 3 that this decision pays off. You may have to rescue the queen again in that game, but if you do, then the Rachni become a powerful asset to help you fight the Reapers. At the end of the day, it's just another number that adds to your readiness rating, but at least you get something for helping the queen out, and overall, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, just incredible. Now over at number 6, sticking with BioWare, the first Dragon Age can be a tough game, so you'll need all the help you can get. Most of the party members that'll join you are pretty obvious, but some of them are kind of easier to miss. Like Zevran, for example. He starts off as an assassin that was hired to kill you. After defeating him, you're given the option to kill him or hear him out. A lot of people out there chose to kill him, probably because they didn't even realize he could be recruited. Visually, there's nothing about him that distinguishes him from an NPC. The only really noteworthy thing about him is his distinct voice, so a lot of players just killed him because he tried to kill them, without realizing that there's a lot more to him than that. He's a good party member.
Ah, so I'm to be interrogated. Let me save you some time. My name is Zevran. Zev to my friends. I am a member of the Antivan Crows, brought here for the sole purpose of slaying any surviving Grey Wardens.
He's one of the least judgmental people you can recruit, and rarely even gets mad at you when you make decisions, so that alone is kind of a breath of fresh air. Next, over at number 5, okay, this is an unusual one, but in Xenogears, you know, that crazy Evangelion-inspired RPG for PS1, there's an enemy that actually heals you rather than hurts you. This thing is found in the Stalactite Cave. It's one of the first areas of the game, and while your first instinct is to start punching them the second you see them, like pretty much every enemy in a JRPG, in this one specific case, that's actually a bad idea. If you leave it alone and just let it do its thing, then it will actually do exactly what its name implies and fix your bots for free. Sparing enemies in an RPG is often a death sentence most of the time, but in this one rare instance, it actually really works out for you. Nice job. Next, over at number 4, this next one has its own Resident Evil 4 dog moment, but it takes a lot longer to pay off. Until Dawn is a game all about choices and consequences. Sometimes doing the right thing pays off, and sometimes it just completely backfires horribly in your face. So making a good or bad choice isn't always so obvious here. In this instance at least, doing the nice thing actually pays off. In Chapter 5, you run into this wolf in the abandoned sanatorium. Now the wolf looks aggressive, and you have the option to kick it, but if you just let the timer run out instead of acting, then the wolf leaves you alone, and then you can get closer and pet them, which actually makes the wolf your friend. They're not seen again until Chapter 9, but if you made friends with them, they'll help you fend off the attacking Wendigos. There's still a lot of ways you can screw up and get this wolf killed, but at this point, it's ride or die with you and helps you out a lot during this section of the game. That's kind of like video game 101 at this point. Always pet the dog. Oh yeah, baby. At number 3, let's talk about Legacy of Kain's Soul Reaver. It's about time. Here's a little fact that we never realized. If you leave the human villagers alone instead of absorbing their souls, then they'll eventually start to worship you and praise you as a hero. This has the added benefit of making it so vampire hunters will leave you alone, which is something I never actually knew about. It's a minor thing in the long run, but it's a cool little detail that adds some depth to this classic game. You know, most of the time, if you're given some kind of moral choice in a game, they make it as obvious as possible, but here it's really just up to you if you want to spare or kill the humans. You know, just walk on by them. You know, there's nothing in the game telling you to do one thing or the other. All right, I know technically they did explain all of this in the manual, but even in the PS1 days, that wasn't something everyone checked out immediately. It's a small thing, especially if you were a dumb kid like us, but any of the reactiveness from NPCs is unusual for a game like this. It's a nice, interesting surprise. Now down to number 2, there's a lot of good opportunities to do good things in Metro Exodus, but you don't really get any rewards for doing them, sorta, you know? Performing good actions like sparing soldiers or helping people out earns you hidden moral points, which primarily affect what ending you get. These moral points can be found all over the place, and you can get them from doing something as simple as like talking to someone when they're sad, to doing something crazy like sneaking through an entire enemy camp without being spotted. All 3 Metro games have these moral points, but in the 3rd game, Metro Exodus, it really matters because this score determines whether you live or die at the end. If you've done enough good deeds and earned as many moral points as you can, then your character, Artyom, will survive and live on to found a new and safe community in this post-apocalypse landscape. You know, for a series as bleak as the Metro games, there really are a lot of opportunities to do good things, and even though it may seem pointless or bleak in the moment, if you do enough of them, the game rewards you at the end. Now down to number 1, let's talk Undertale. Described as the RPG where nobody has to die, this absolutely massive game gives you two options in combat. You can either fight your enemies like a regular RPG or quote unquote spare them. To spare enemies, you have to talk to them, figure out what their deal is, and do something to make them like you or at least not want to kill you. Every enemy is different, and figuring out how to spare every enemy is one of the more fun elements of the game. It's a big reason why people like this. Now, on the other hand, just fighting them is simpler, and killing enemies earns you XP, which makes you tougher and stronger. So it seems like if you spare too many enemies, you may be too weak to finish the game. That's not actually the case though. You can get by just fine at level 1, but if you're going into the game blind, then it can be kind of stressful the first time through. Depending on how many enemies you kill, you can get a few different endings, and if you want the happiest possible one, then you'll have to spare everything. You can't kill anyone at all to get this ending. You also have to make friends with all the main characters, but the main thing is, again, to spare every enemy. Normally, the game ends on a hard cut to black, which can feel pretty unsatisfying, but if you take the time to get the true pacifist ending, then the whole thing gets greatly expanded upon. It's an emotional and really entertaining end to the game, and surprisingly tacks on a few more hours of content to boot, and the only way to get it is to do the right thing. In most games, doing the right thing is not killing one specific guy. It's okay to kill everyone else. In this game, that's just not good enough. You have to spare everything and everyone, and a lot of times it's just by hearing them out. Anyway, those are some cool examples of just doing the right thing in the game and getting rewarded. Being the nice guy and what it nets you is often a satisfying thing in games, and there's plenty of other examples. We could talk about a lot more, but we want to hear yours first in the comments. If we ever make a part 2, we're going to be looking to hear what you guys suggest, any of your favorite moments, so let us know. If you enjoyed this video and just really like yapping about games with us, clicking the like button's all you got to do to help us. We very much appreciate that. But hey, as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.